Hi, welcome to my lecture on the Italian game. The opening sequence of the Italian game is this. It's e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. But what I want to do is back up a bit and cover some of these opening moves. Because in my first lecture, I only really covered the basic openings, and I just want to cover why did white and black make these moves. So let me just back up and show you starting from this position, okay? Because there's a variety of moves that white and black can play, and how did we get to the Italian game? Well, let me bring up my notes here. So here I'm saying the game starts off e4, e5, which is what I have on the screen. And now I'm going to cover sort of white's, or the second and third moves by white and black, and just maybe give you some of the names of the openings. Just to let you know, I originally was going to try to cover the Italian game and Ruy Lopez or the other openings in 10 minutes, but I realized it's going to be impossible. So when I cover these openings, it's going to take me several lectures to cover the basics. But okay, so e4, e5. So what are the possible moves, or the most common moves played by the masters? Because that's my goal, is to emulate good players. So what are the top level players playing? Well, the most common second move for white is knight f3. Okay, and by my notes it says, according to my database, this is played almost 88% of the time. And why is it played? Well, when we went back to my lecture on the opening principles, the principles were control the center, develop your pieces, and castle. And this knight move does, well, actually it helps all three of those goals. One, it's developing a piece. Two, it's actually helping to control these two center squares. Okay. 3, white may end up castling kingside. So we're getting a piece out of the way so the king can castle. And 4, it's actually now attacking this pawn here, which is unprotected. Now black has to make a response. Black just can't play any move. Black's going to have to play a move that's going to somehow protect that pawn or counterattack or something. It's going to have to say, hold on, you're attacking my pawn, what do I want to do? So this move also somewhat limits the moves by black. What are the other possible white moves? Well, so knight f3, which we just covered, which is played in most of them. Knight c3. Okay. This is known as the Vienna game. Okay, and actually it's let's see, what are my notes? I want to make sure I'm going to cover this. It's actually related to this King's Gambit right here. If you don't know, what's basically going to happen is white actually plans on somehow moving this pawn up, so that's sort of but maybe I'll cover that in a different lecture. But this is another move by white that's played. Another move is, well, let me back up to this. So, why would white make this move? Well, it's sort of for the same reasons that white moved knight f3. It develops a piece. It attacks these two central squares. It doesn't really attack anything, so black's responses aren't limited. And realistically, if it helps if white wants to castle queenside, but not really if white wants to castle kingside. So what are the other moves by white that's commonly played? Bishop c4. This is called the bishop's opening. Here it's attacking the center square. Or why would white make this move? Well, here it develops a piece. It's attacking the central square. And it's also hitting this square. This is, if you don't know, this pawn for black and this pawn for white are the two most vulnerable pawns and places to attack. So white is maybe planning on somehow attacking this pawn. Okay, I mean, if you think about it, if white on the next move moves here for the queen, it's threatening checkmate here. So it gets a piece out, so white would play this because it's getting a piece out, it's controlling a central square, and it's sort of helping the castle. And then the other move, which I have on here, is f4. This is known as the King's Gambit. And really, white is attacking the center from the side. Okay. Notice it didn't really develop a piece. It didn't really help white castle. So you got to tell yourself now you can see why knight f3 is so popular. It's because it achieves so many goals for white. Okay. So what are the black responses? Well, after white plays knight f3, the two most common responses are this: knight c6, which is played most of the time, and knight f6. Okay? So what are the two reasons for this? Well, knight c6 is actually developing a piece, attacking, helping control the center, okay, and it's also protecting this pawn right here. Knight f6, whoops, develops a piece, and it's really a form of a counterattack. Notice it didn't protect its own piece here. It's actually counterattacking white's own piece. But the most popular, which I have by my chart, is knight f6. So after knight f3, white plays knight f3, knight c6, as you can tell, is played almost 84% of the time, and knight f6, which is sort of the counterattack I was talking about, that's actually called the Petrov defense. It's played about 12% of the time. So what are the most common moves after knight c6 by black? Well, coming back to my chart, it's going to be, you can tell, a bishop move. So rather the bishop's going to move to b5 or c4, or it's going to be a pawn move or a knight move. Let's go over these. So the most popular move, third move by white, is this move here. This is actually called the Ruy Lopez, and I'm going to be covering that in a separate lecture. Okay? And that is played about 62% of the time. And then the Italian game, which I'm going to cover in detail, is played about 17% of the time. Instead of putting the bishop on b5, we're going to put the bishop right here on c4. Okay? Maybe I should back up and say, why would someone play bishop, b5? Well, if you think about it, this white is attacking this knight, and this knight is protecting this pawn. So ineffectively, white is now attacking a defender of the pawn, and also something that's helping to control the center. So it's getting sort of rid of a guard. It's going to try to undermine black's plans. So then this is the Italian game, and I'll cover this in more detail. The other two moves are d4, which is played about 12% of the time. This is known as a Scotch game, right here. So, as you can tell, this move here actually frees this bishop. This pawn is now coming up and trying to control the center. Okay, it doesn't really help white castle. So it's just trying to show you how, what are these moves doing? And if you look at it from the point of view of the opening principles, it's trying to help accomplish center control and it's letting this black bishop out. So it's aiding in the development of the pieces. And the last move is knight c3. Okay. Once again, white is developing a piece, helping to control the center. Not really helping in the castling of the king. And that leads to the 3 knights defense, and if black plays this, then you have the 4 knights defense. Okay? Well, I'm going to have to break the lecture here, and I'll continue the lecture on the Italian game